I filed the incident report 3 times. The first version was returned by the Operations Review Board with a notation that the pursuit duration entry appeared to be a transcription error. The second was returned with a request for biosign telemetry cross-verification. The third I submitted with the full 19-hour telemetry log appended, every corridor timestamp, every biosign interval, and the fugitive's post-apprehension medical workup. That one was not returned. It was reclassified. My name is Veth Solar. I held the rank of Containment Marshal, 3rd Cordon Division, Compact Transit Authority at the time of the Kethra-Norin incident. I have pursued, contained, and transferred 312 individuals across 14 years of active service. I am telling this account to the board because they asked, and because I was the only member of the task force who watched the entire 19 hours unfold in real time. Edrin Havas was not an ordinary fugitive. I want that stated clearly because it matters to what happened next. He was a trained compact interceptor before his conviction, fast on open ground, faster in corridors, and experienced in the architecture of pursuit. He knew how pursuit teams moved, how they communicated, how they cornered. He had escaped 2 prior transfer operations. At Kethra-Norin, during a routine docking bay transfer, he broke a wrist restraint and went into the maintenance spine of the waystation. He was gone before the alert finished cycling. Standard protocol. I dispatched fast intercept specialists Torin and Calith into the primary escape corridors, placed specialist Oron on the junction cordon at level 9, and assigned containment deputy Renee Thorne to secondary tracking in the outer maintenance ring. Thorne was our newest transfer. She had been with the division 4 months. I assigned her to secondary because I expected the fast intercept team to resolve this in under 3 hours, and secondary tracking is observational work, not contact work. That was the first thing I was wrong about. Torin and Calith drove Havas into the outer ring twice in the first 4 hours. Both times he slipped the cordon. He was moving well, genuinely well, better than his file suggested, and by hour 5 I had repositioned Oron to assist with the level 7 junction while Torin took a recovery interval. Fast intercept work is exactly that. Brief, high output, physically demanding. The specialists cycle in and out. That is standard. That is how pursuit operations work. Thorne did not cycle. I noticed it at hour 6. Her biosign transponder showed a steady pace in the outer maintenance ring, not fast, not variable, simply continuous. I checked her status. She reported the transponder was functioning and she was maintaining contact. I asked her to define contact. She said she was keeping visual range on Havas's heat signature, staying 60 to 80 meters back, and logging every directional change he made. I told her to hold position and wait for Torin to return. She acknowledged and did not hold position. She kept moving. I reviewed this decision later. I am not certain she disobeyed a direct order so much as she interpreted it in a way that allowed her to continue. She is precise in her language. I have learned to be more precise in mine. By hour 8, Havas had opened distance on her twice briefly when the corridors allowed it. Each time she closed it, not by running faster, by not stopping. He would rest for 2 minutes at a junction while he listened for the fast intercept team. She would continue moving. When he started again, she was 20 meters closer than when he had stopped. The telemetry log shows this clearly in retrospect. At the time, I was managing the intercept team's positioning and did not observe it in the detail it deserved. Hour 10, Torin and Calith had not landed a clean intercept. Havas was reading the cordon patterns with the skill I expected from a trained interceptor. He was good. He was also, by this point, running for 10 hours across the maintenance spine of a waystation, pressure-locked corridors, uneven grading, variable gravity sections between docking arms. His route choices were beginning to favor the straighter sections. I noted this. I attributed it to tactical preference. I was wrong about that too. Thorne's pace had not changed. At hour 13, I called her directly. I told her to confirm her physical status. She told me she was fine, slightly warm, and would appreciate water when this was done. I asked her when she estimated contact. She said she didn't know, but he was tiring. I asked her how she knew. She said his stride interval had changed. He was covering less ground per step and taking longer between directional choices. She had been watching his movement pattern long enough to baseline it. 13 hours. She had been tracking the man for 13 hours, and she had baselined his movement pattern. I authorized her to continue and called Torin, who was in his second recovery interval. I did not tell him what Thorne had just told me. I was not sure I understood it yet. Hour 15. Havas made a decision that puzzled me at the time. He had been cycling between the outer ring and 2 utility corridors on level 8, territory he clearly knew and had pre-scouted. At hour 15, he abandoned that territory entirely and moved into the deep maintenance section below the docking arm junction, a longer route with no known exits in his direction. I sent Oran to the far end to close the box. Thorne's telemetry followed him in. What I did not understand, and what the post-incident medical workup would explain, was that Havas was no longer making tactical decisions at that point. His routing into the deep maintenance section was not a feint. It was the path of least resistance, the flattest corridor he could find. His muscular system was beginning to refuse the incline sections. He did not know this consciously. His legs were simply obeying a different set of instructions than his mind was issuing. Hour 17, Thorne's voice on the channel was the same as it had been at hour 1. Calm, slightly warm, focused. She reported Havas was moving slower. She reported this in the same tone she might use to report a door was open. I pulled up her biosign telemetry alongside Havas's. His was post-apprehension medical reconstruction, not live, but we were able to map it afterward from the in-corridor environmental sensors. The comparison is in the report. I will not pretend it was not striking. Her core temperature was elevated by 0.4 degrees. Her heart rate was steady. Her cortisol curve showed a gentle plateau reached around hour 4 and held flat through the duration. Her stride data showed no degradation across any measured interval from hour 1 to hour 19. His reconstruction showed a different picture. Sustained high-output exertion across 17 hours had begun accumulating lactic saturation in the primary leg musculature by hour 9. His cortisol had spiked and continued to spike. The curve kept climbing because his body kept demanding more and receiving less. By hour 16, his stride variance had tripled. By hour 18, he was covering less than 60% of the ground per minute that he had covered at hour 1. He was not injured. No trap had been sprung. No intercept team had cornered him. He was simply running out of body. I have reviewed the apprehension footage several times. It is unremarkable in the way that only the strangest things can be unremarkable. Thorne rounds a corridor junction at a steady walking pace. Not a run, a walk. She had slowed because she did not need to be faster than him anymore. And Havas is 30 meters ahead, braced against the wall with both hands, legs trembling. He hears her. He pushes off the wall. He manages 6 steps before his legs lock and he goes down. She reaches him in 12 seconds. She applies the restraints while he is still trying to understand why his body has stopped cooperating. She calls it in. Her voice is level. I submitted the incident report to the board with one annotation I had not included in the first 2 versions. It was a single line from the xenobiological consult we requested during the review, from a physiologist who studies pre-contact human evolutionary history. She told us that the human species spent approximately 2 million years as persistence hunters, creatures with no great speed, no natural weapons worth noting, who killed by following prey across open ground until the animal's physiology failed. Not until they caught it, until it stopped being able to run. The notation read, human officers should not be assigned pursuit operations as secondary support. They should be assigned as primary. The board reclassified the recommendation as operational protocol. I think about Havas sometimes. He had 6 successful escapes behind him. He was faster than Thorn. He was tactically more experienced. He knew the corridors. He did not know what was behind him. He could not have. Nothing in his experience had prepared him for a creature that simply did not stop.